for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. The Eye Test with Pierre, McGuire, and Jimmy Murphy.
The Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche. And after after 22 years, Raymond Marsh!
The sickest NHL podcast. Brought to you by TCS Customs and Logistics. Moving pieces, delivering peace of mind. It's gonna be sick.
And welcome to McLean's Public House and the Eye Test on the Sick Podcast Network. We are live, as I said, from McLean's Public House here at 1420 Peel Street in downtown Montreal. Not the old McLean's, don't get confused. That's down the street. We are on Upper Peel on the other side of St. Catharines. This place is packed already, Mr. McGuire.
Unbelievable.
I love it. People are getting excited here despite the impending blizzard that is about to hit Montreal. And two of
It's
them actually.
Montreal, Jimmy. They're used to snow.
They are.
It's okay.
They're tough. They love it. But it is. There's a lot of Canadian jerseys out here. It's some Crosby jerseys in front of us here. There's a buzz around the city. I know there hasn't been much of a buzz leading into this, Pierre, but today it felt like people were starting to get into it as I walked around the city.
I think you have a better feel for that than I do. I was staying at my mom's the last couple of days, walking around a little bit. In her neighborhood, there's no buzz. That doesn't mean there's no buzz in downtown.
Right.
She lives right near downtown. I went and had coffee this morning with a coach from the Quebec Major Junior League, Matthew Turcotte, who we're going to have on.
He's going to
join us soon.
Here.
I would tell you, like, that was where I grew up, that neighborhood. There was no buzz.
Okay.
But I agree with you.
Yeah.
There's buzz down here.
Yeah.
Around the arena, there's buzz.
Yeah.
Away from the arena, there's
exactly.
not
And,
as much.
you know, we can harp on that all we want later because I do want to get Coach Turcotte on here in a second. But the one thing I'll say where I was happy there was a real buzz was amongst the players, Pierre.
Yeah.
They are taking this seriously. They're not. It's not like some all-star game to them. They're representing their countries. They got the emblems on their jerseys. You know, I spoke to Sidney Crosby, Brad Marchand. I was there in those scrums. These guys are revved up for this, and it means a lot.
First of all, I want to salute you. You did great work. Jimmy did amazing work getting sound bites. I watched them all this afternoon. Really good. Professional journalism. And it tells the fans a lot about where these guys are. Your quote, your conversation with Brad Marchand is elite.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Well,
and go ahead.
I want to give you credit for that, though, because you were the one who told me, I'll never forget it, after that 2016 World Cup, and we're going to play that quote later on. I remembered you saying, that's going to change Marchand. That tournament took him to another level, and sure enough, I asked him, that's the first time I've actually been able to talk to him
I thought you did an amazing job. Like, I commend you as your partner.
And he said, I didn't think of myself as a superstar until then, so we'll get to that later.
Yeah, no, the one thing I'd say, like, from all the sound bites I heard, I didn't like how flat Cooper was. I was worried about, and I like John. John knows. I think John's a good coach.
Yep.
But I thought he was flat. Like, very deliberate, very slow, very monotonous. That's not the environment tonight that's going to happen.
Exactly.
I don't think it's going to be sold out.
It's not going to be sold out.
So you got to create enthusiasm. Most of these players are used to coming to Montreal. It's wild.
Every game. Yep.
It's not going to be like that tonight. So you got to create enthusiasm on the bench. I was concerned when I heard that soundbite.
All right. Well, we'll get back to that later, but let's bring in our guest here.
Come on, Coach. Get up here.
With him, as you said.
Move over, Jimmy. Coach, great to see you.
Yes.
Really good.
Coach Matthew Turcotte.
This is your mic with me. We'll share.
Right.
I brushed my teeth before I came, so hopefully it's okay.
I just found out a West
Slide
Islander.
over more. Slide over more so we get Coach on.
Yep.
Yeah. Hold on. We get there. There we go. No, it's Matthew Turcotte, the head coach of Blainville Boisbriand. They're in second place in their division, the Quebec Major Junior League. Actually, it's not called that anymore. The Quebec
Maritime. There you go.
League. There you go. Speaking of Maritimes, Coach, you just came from there.
Yeah.
And you had an amazing run.
We had a good trip. So we had 3 games in 4 days down there, and guys did a good job. We started in St. John, had a day off. After that, Halifax. You know how Halifax can be, right? So it was a good game there, and after that, we ended up in Cape Breton. So 5 points out of 6. Really happy to leave there without any major injuries. So that's the biggest thing at this time of the year. So the guys did a good job.
You came down here with your father, Eve, who's a retired police officer. Tell us about how much it means to be able to go to watch Canada play against Sweden. And you're coaching an elite major junior team.
Yeah.
And I know a city that you grew up in as well.
Seeing all these guys on the same ice, and just look at that number 1 power play for Canada, right? So seeing everybody on the ice, those elite players is special. Being able to see it with my dad as well is something special for me too. And talking about buzz, I heard you guys speaking a little earlier, and all our players, I think half my team is going to the game tonight. So there's a big buzz in the hockey world for these types of games. Everybody wants to come see these guys live.
So Jimmy, I'm going to brag about Coach for a second. We had coffee this morning, hour and a half meeting. It was awesome. It wasn't good. It was like I left there. I was like, I want to play for this guy. And I still could skate well enough. I don't know if I can do the rest, but I could skate well. So here's my biggest question. You got a ton of guys. Your team's good, but you're younger. How are you going to adapt to the new rules between major, junior, and college?
Recruitment, selling our program. So the biggest thing for us is we want to develop players, whether it's for the pros right away or whether it's for the NCAA afterwards. Our job is to make sure our players leave better overall. And, the top scorer in the queue played for us before Christmas. He just signed with Providence. So that's something that's important for us. So if our guys don't play pro right away, we want them to be able to go to the NCAA route, just be better players and get that degree at the same time.
For the longest time, you were the assistant coach waiting for your opportunity to coach as a head coach in Quebec Major Junior League. How different is it to actually say, I might be growing players to play college hockey?
It is different, right? Because obviously, as you know, it's really new. But our job, is to develop them for that next level, whether it's the American League or whether it's the NCAA. Our job is to make them better, right? So no matter where they go afterwards, we just want to push them to be the best version of themselves, and that's really what's important, whether it's NCAA or pro.
College coaches and junior coaches start to reach out to each other and coordinate and start to get a feel for how they might have to work together going forward.
It's starting. I actually had that discussion with Pierre this morning, so it's starting. We have a former coach in Blainville that's actually coaching Clarkson right now, JF Hood. So he's been to many of our games and starting to build those relationships. But that's definitely the next frontier for us, is trying to build those relationships and having them, not bring players to us, but at least guide players to our programs, because like I mentioned earlier, our job is to develop them for that next level, right? Whether it's NCAA or pro. So I think that the job we'll do developing our players and winning some hockey games and bringing that culture to a next level, I think we'll bring some players in the next few years.
This year, the Memorial Cup's in Rimouski. So they're trying to say, okay, Rimouski, you're going to get to be in the Final Four no matter what. We want to be there with you. Can you tell a lot of our audience is from all over the world, what's it like to go on a road trip to Rimouski? I know it because I grew up being there.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Yeah. So it's about 5.5 hours from Blainville. So it's never an easy place to play. It's pretty intimidating. Obviously, the history that organization has is second to none in our league.
Sidney Crosby was the guy.
Richards, Crosby,
Lecavalier.
So never an easy game to play there, and you usually get a back-to-back since it's a little far. So they're built for the long haul there at the Memorial Cup. So it's always a good test. We actually played them. The first game after the trade deadline, we played them, which is not when you want to play them, when they're hosting the Memorial Cup. So they built up their team. They were stacked. They had all these World Junior guys that came in right after. Luckily, it only finished 2-1, but still, it's never easy playing Rimouski for sure.
Jimmy, the one thing I want to say, Coach had a chance to work with Joshua Roy. He was one of his players.
Yeah.
Where do you see him going with the Montreal Canadiens long term?
So what happened for him last year didn't surprise me at all. So I'm kind of surprised that, he had a below average camp. I think he's having a decent year at the American League level, but I think he's got all the tools to be a solid NHLer. Whether it's top six with the high end skill you see in the game these days, I'm not quite sure, but I think he would be able to find a role maybe on a third line somewhere.
Do you still, I imagine you still keep in touch with a lot of your former players on their journey, but when they set off on that journey after they leave you, is there tips you give them? Like, you might come in, you might have a bad camp. Don't let that get you down. Learn from it and move ahead. Yeah,
so usually we have those talks, whether it's articles that I post in the room or all these. I like to feed them a lot of information and just to get them prepared to the next level. So with Josh, he was the first overall pick in the queue. So the biggest thing for him when he was with us, my job was to make sure that Josh was a better version of himself. I mean, I guess I'm repeating myself, but our job is to make them the best version of themselves, right? So with Josh, he was always a high-end player, but he wasn't always coached,
right?
Because as I was telling Pierre this morning, like classic guy with a lot of skill. Sometimes coaches close their eyes and let them do what they need to do. But our job is to tell them the hard truths and just be honest with them and make sure they're accountable. So I think that, I think he took that step during that year he was with me, but Josh was so dominant. He broke Lafreniere's records at the U18 level. We won 34 games in a row. Best record ever. Like, he was obviously a huge part of that. He was the best player in our league. So he had a heck of a year.
Speaking of players, because the rules are changing, how are you going to rejig your focus long-term for between players from the United States coming to Canada and players from Western Canada maybe coming east?
Yep.
How does that change how you do business?
It changes everything, really. And I think the teams that will have the most success in the next 5 to 10 years are the teams that figure it out the fastest. So we're trying to find ways to get those players to come to Boisbriand. We're not far from Montreal. You got everything around here, definitely. We're trying to sell our program and to get in contact with certain coaches in the NCAA to make sure that we build our relationship with them and bring some guys over so we can have the best team possible and develop the most players.
So I'm just going to say this to be transparent. My son was drafted by that team, but coach wasn't there.
Okay.
So I let my kid actually go for 2, which were the rules then, 48 hours. And then I pulled him out because I wanted him to keep his college eligibility. Parents don't have to worry about that anymore.
Right.
So you can go there now, and it's a totally different deal. And I would just say this, and I'm very comfortable saying, don't be embarrassed. If I had a son that had to do it over again, he'd play for him. That's all I'm going to say.
Thanks.
High praise.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, that must be huge, though, for these kids now that they can do that. I mean,
It is. So there was like a gold rush for free agents in October, November, December. It was crazy in our league. I believe there were over 40 new players in our league. So everybody's trying to find players, trying to find the best players available. So we added a few, actually. We added 2 at the deadline. So everybody added some really good players. It makes our league better. I mean, it makes our league younger, but I believe it makes our league better overall.
And the one I want this to be out there because I grew up here, so I speak French and English. If you're an Anglophone English person, trust me, you're not going to get ostracized or alienated being here. You know that, right?
At all.
I just want you to tell the people.
Yeah, no, we've got some players from Europe. I mean, we've got billets that are 100% English around here. Obviously, everybody speaks English around here. You've got everything you need in Montreal. I mean, I think it's a great place to play. And there's some other Anglophone markets, but none that are close to Montreal and have the facilities we have as well. So I think
and you're close to your roots, which I found
I
out.
am.
I lived in the same area when I was here in Montreal, the West Island too. So you're close to home. You might say that.
Exactly. First time in a long time I'm close to home. That's why my parents could come out to games now, and
That's great.
it's definitely great for the family.
I'm looking at Eve right now, your dad, former police officer. Wow, I guess once you're a police officer, you're always a police officer. He's like, I talked to him before. He's so proud of you and everything you've done. And I can tell you, like, I'm watching him now, I'm like, damn, this is so cool.
Yeah, no, he definitely it's tough to beat. Like, for me, as you know, in the coaching world, we run around everywhere, right? So I'd been everywhere but Montreal for the past 15 years, so it's great to be back last few years.
Coach, thank you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh my gosh,
Pleasure.
fantastic. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Awesome to meet you.
Thanks,
Thank
Jimmy.
you.
Have a great show,
All
guys.
Thanks, man.
We'll hang out at the Manoir someday. Good stuff.
Hey,
He's
this
on his
guy's
way.
such is he ever?
Yeah.
His team's good. They know, he already knows next year they're in the Memorial Cups in Kelowna next year. They think they have a legitimate chance to be there. Most of their best players are 17 and 18. Like, they're in a good spot.
Yeah.
Blainville Boisbriand's in a really good
I'm
spot.
just thinking when I asked him there about, coordinating now with NCAA coaches and forming relationships there. I think back to those stories you told. There was none of that back in the day, Pierre.
Yeah, there was this.
Yeah, get out of here. You're
You're gonna fight in the backyard. The fact that JF Rule, and I knew this, and I kind of put on a tee for him.
Mm-hmm.
He coaches in Clarkson now. He coached Blainville.
Yeah.
And so his dad, Reggie Ohl, was the general manager of Montreal Canadiens, was a great player, number 14 for Montreal. So JF's just one of the people. But if you look at all the border schools, University of Maine, University of Vermont, St. Lawrence University, University of Massachusetts, Northeastern, BC, like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, if
There's
you're
so
not
much
creative,
potential
if
there.
you're not creative like coaches,
Yeah.
you're not going to be successful.
Nope, you have to.
And so when we met this morning, it was all about how do you do this?
Right.
It's kind of neat.
But he seems to already have that foundation of how he wants to attack it.
Oh yeah, no, he gets it.
Yeah,
I was
I
really
can see
impressed.
that.
I was really
I can see
impressed.
that.
Really
Speaking of Clarkson, we're having a coach that is going to be there this weekend to take them on, and that's the head coach of Dartmouth, Reed Cashman. We'll be pre-recording on campus Friday tomorrow with Dartmouth head coach Reed Cashman. Looking forward to talking to him, Pierre. And this is a team, as you said, I think it was yesterday, a surprise team in college hockey. Kind of has taken people by surprise. They, as the season went on, teams like, all right, these guys are for real, but they've had a great season.
One of the things that happened that surprised a lot of people, they lost a player, Cooper Black, who signed with the Florida Panthers, who's done an amazing job in the American Hockey League. But Cooper was young, and they thought he'd stay for a couple more years, but he bolted.
So they had to reset.
They had to reset, and they got a transfer from Clarkson, crazy as it is. And they've got two real good center icemen. Sean Chisholm and Luke Ames are really good center icemen. They've got real good mobility on defense, led by Johnny Fusco, who's a draft pick of the Toronto Maple Leafs, somebody that I've worked with a long time.
Yep.
So, and his brother Matt's there as well. Like, they're a good team. I don't know if they do damage in the NCAA tournament, but they have a legitimate chance to be a tournament team. They really do.
I'm looking forward to that, and he will be speaking to us from Lake Placid here. I know a place you love.
You know what? It's so smart of him to do that, Jimmy.
I was thinking
So
of the
that-
Bruins. 2011.
Yeah, but not only that, and then that's a good point too by you. That's where the ECAC tournament is.
Right.
So Dartmouth did it last year,
Yeah.
and they were the surprise team in the tournament. They went to the final. They didn't win. Cornell did. But it's a smart move.
Yeah.
And especially with the snow coming.
Yep.
So they go there, they spend the night, the snow clears out Friday, they practice, then they go to Clarkson, St. Lawrence, and they go home.
That's great.
So it's pretty smart by Coach
familiarize
Cashman.
yourself
Yes.
with the atmosphere and all
Yes,
that. I love
yes.
it. Great point by you. Well, again, we are live from McLean's Public House, 1420 Peel Street down here in downtown Montreal, getting ready for the first game of the Four Nations face-off at the Bell Center, Sweden and Canada. We want to thank Stu Ashton, the owner of McLean's, also owns
Stu.
McLean's, the place down Lower Peel. Yeah, Stu is great.
Oh my
Awesome.
gosh,
And
the whole
also-
staff. How about
Yep.
the staff?
Oh, they're amazing.
Just like Johnny. Jimmy. So I want to give credit where credit's due.
Yep.
Jimmy set all this stuff up.
Thank you.
At Johnny Carran's, West End
West End
Johnny's.
Johnny's. We'll be there Monday.
We'll be there, but no, two bean pots in a row.
Yep.
Johnny was amazing.
Yep.
The staff off the charts. Food,
Yep.
great, everything, right? Crowd, great. Look at this.
And then you
Like,
come
I wish we could turn it around.
Yeah.
Like, it's jammed in here.
It's jammed.
It's
I mean, Pierre,
jammed.
We got here at 3, and it was really cool because they had the local Celtic football club
No, it was good.
cheering team here.
That was
They've been, I think they've been around for like 20 years. I met them way back in the St. Patty's Parade, and they were here. I mean, it wasn't as packed as it is now, but they were getting ready, and now they're into hockey mode here. And by the way, Pierre, we've got nice 2 bottles of Jägermeister right here. They are sponsoring this event right now, and we want to give them a big thanks. We want
Yes.
to urge you to go check out their Instagram page and also go to the McLean's Public House Instagram page, where both of them right now, Pierre, are running a contest where you can win a signed Canada hockey jersey. So
That's awesome.
really cool jersey. By the way, I like the Canada jerseys a lot.
They're good. No,
Yeah,
no.
I like
The one thing, Hockey Canada does a lot of things right.
Yeah.
They do. One of the things they really do well, outfitting their teams.
Yeah.
You know, I did a lot of international events for Team Canada for a long time.
Yep.
They're very good at that.
good stuff. So-
And they have good players too.
Yeah.
It makes it easier.
Well, speaking of one of their good players who I think looks like he will be on the 3rd line, and he's a Boston Bruins captain, Brad Marchand. He spoke today after practice, Pierre, and touched on a variety of things. One thing he was having a lot of fun with is, am I going to get booed here? Are they going to adopt me as one of their own temporarily here? Because obviously the Canadians-Bruins rivalry, he's heard his fair share of jeers here in the Bell Center. But, I asked him, as I said earlier, to lead off the show, you brought this up to me when it happened. You said this is going to be his breakthrough, the 2016 World Cup, where he was able to skate with Sidney Crosby like he did in the 2005 World Juniors as well. But that was sort of like that defining moment where he felt that he became a superstar. So let's go to that quote right now, and then we'll talk about it.
The thing it did for me was it changed my mindset. Mind's such a powerful thing. It can propel you to achieve incredible things, and it can really hinder you and hold you back from accomplishing things. So, and at that time, I always viewed guys, on tiers. Look across the league. You got your McDavids and your Crosbys and McKinnons and all of that. And then you got your, mid-tier guys. I always viewed myself as like looking at those guys, the best in the world, and they're untouchables. And when I got to play as part of that team, I realized that one of the biggest things is that they know that and they believe that every time they step on the ice, they're the best. They have that confidence. And once I realized that I could play at that level, my mindset just changed, and I started believing every time I stepped on the ice, whether it was true or not, I would tell myself I was the best player, and I had that mindset of a little bit of an internal arrogance and confidence, but it just helped me in games get to another level, and I think at the same time it was a bit of a perfect storm. I think the way that I trained and competed kind of came to a head with that, and it helped me get to a different level that I never thought that I would reach.
So I found it interesting, Pierre. Here's an NHLer openly admitting that until that point, he felt inferior to other players in the league and just kind of put superstars like Crosby and other guys like Nathan McKinnon, all those guys on a pedestal above him. And it took playing with them to feel like one of the gang, to feel like part of that elite club.
Yeah, no, that happens a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I used to say all the time, if you get a kid that dominates the World Junior, he's going to be a star at the NHL, because that's a whole other level for most of those guys. And it's the same when you go to a best on best, which he did in 2016, and you're playing with those guys, you get better.
Yep.
I remember whether it's talking to Paul Coffey or Mario Lemieux or Mark Recchi or Kevin Stevens, Christopher Pronger, all those guys, when they had a chance to go to events like this, it made a difference.
Yeah.
It
I
did.
think you talk about Mario Lemieux there, and I just popped in my head what it must have been like for Sidney Crosby to enter the league playing with that guy, to have that guy as a mentor right away.
Hey, he was his landlord. He knew if he didn't behave, he
gosh.
was going to be in trouble at home. So it's good. Yeah.
And by the way, correction, as you pointed out to me, he did not play with Crosby in that 2005. That was Bergeron, my mistake.
Bergeron, Corey Perry, and Crosby was alive.
And Grand Forks, correct?
Yes.
All right. But you know what, Marchand, you can tell I've had the pleasure of watching him grow up as a player and a person, and he's a leader now. You can see that. And obviously he had a good leader ahead of him in Patrice Bergeron that helped him. Obviously Mark Recchi was there for a bit as well. And we talked to Recchi yesterday about that. And it's interesting to just see how comfortable he is in that setting now compared to, say, 10 years ago. I
agree. No, complete. Especially when you consider all the shenanigans with Ryan Callahan and all this stuff. It's so much better. And he plays on the line.
Yeah, he still does.
Sometimes he goes over, sometimes he doesn't.
Right.
But he plays on the line. Nobody has a problem with that.
Yeah.
It's when you do the shenanigans that they have a problem. There are no more shenanigans from him. I'm so proud of him.
Yeah.
I've known him a long time.
Yeah.
I remember when he got sat out of a Super Series game in Vancouver because he was misbehaving.
That was 2007?
It was.
Yep.
And he's come a long way since then. 2011, I'll never forget, Mark Recchi giving him hell on the bench in Vancouver. It was really good for him.
Was that when the games 1 and 2 and that all stuff?
Yeah, there was stuff going on. That was
okay.
Stuff going on with him and Maxime Lapierre.
Okay.
It was amazing.
Who, by the way, you now do some work
I
with
like
Sick
Max.
Media.
I
He's
think
great
Max
to work with.
fantastic.
Yep. Good stuff.
Max is really good at what he does. He's really good.
All right, another quote I got that, one of the big topics heading into this, Pierre, when people look at the Canadian lineup and their roster, they say goaltending is the weak spot. That's their flaw. And we can make an argument for that, but John Cooper was asked about that today, and I felt, he gave a good answer. Like he said, look, I get it. Goalies are the last line of defense, and they're going to get the blame when the puck goes by them. But as you see in this clip, a lot of other things usually happen before it gets to the goalie. So we'll play this clip and then I'll talk to you.
We get asked questions about forwards, defense, goaltending. Everybody plays their positions, and ultimately it's a team sport. That's it. And when a goal's scored, for the most part, it's usually not the goalie's fault. But he always gets the rap because he's the last one that sees it, and he's the one that has to dig it out of the net when it's in there. But usually there's been a progression of a blown back check or a missed hit or some system breakdown all the way to the end. And the goaltender for 65 shot attempts and 30 shots out of a game has to make the save. And so I don't get into like, oh, well, you know, if somebody thinks this goaltender's not, I'd look at the guys and say, well, that guy's won a cup and that guy's won a cup. And I look over somewhere else and I say, well, he hasn't won a cup and he hasn't won a cup. And you put guys in big time situations and it's how they perform. And, you know, in our team, we feel all the way through our lineup, we have a whole bunch of guys that have performed in pressure situations, but it is a team sport, man. And I think you win as a team, you lose as a team. And I feel we are solid in every single position. Like I sleep well at night, going to bed thinking I've got that team to stand behind the bench with. So I'm excited about it.
All right, so Pierre, your take on that. Now, I know you didn't think it was as good as I thought, but I want to hear you because you've coached in the league. You know what it's about.
So when I'm watching that, and I thought you did a great job getting that tape, and I mean that sincerely.
Okay.
I'm watching that. I'm going, if I'm John Cooper, can I call the Canadian Embassy and get Igor Shesterkin's citizenship changed? I'm telling you. I was sitting in my house doing work, getting ready to do the show, and I'm saying, Jimmy got good tape from this guy, and I'm wondering if he can't call the Canadian Embassy and get Shesterkin's citizenship changed so he can play.
Yeah. Well, what about Joey Decord? He's no Shesterkin, but remember that whole controversy? They were trying to get him on the team.
They were.
Yeah.
He was born in Arizona.
Yeah.
So not working.
Not working. His dad, though, Brian Decord, a great goalie coach.
And his dad's from Montreal.
Yeah, he is.
Played at Merrimack.
Yep.
Coach at BU.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are you worried about that goaltending for Canada, or is it being
worried's too strong a term.
Okay.
Because I never disrespect Stanley Cup winners. Aiden Hill's won a cup, and Jordan Binnington's won a Stanley Cup. And Binnington's cup win, that game 7 on the road.
Oh my God.
If he's not as good as he is in the first period, Boston crushes them.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't beat them. They crush them.
Yeah.
Binnington won that game 7. So I'm not worried about – worried's too strong a term. I would be concerned if they don't win tonight.
Okay. So here's another thing that was a hot topic, Muncie. He got asked in 3 different ways, but how long do you wait before making a change, whether it's a goaltending or whether it's in-game with defensive pairings or forward lines, because you're not used to working with these guys on an everyday basis. Is it something you want to let develop a bit, or once you sense that it's not there, do you pull the plug and switch it up?
Cooper's a really good manager. That's Cooper's strength as a coach.
Okay.
He manages game plans and people really well. That's his strength. He's not a brilliant tactician. He's not he's not going to go in there and crush guys like Babcock or Bowman or Trotz. That's not like Quenneville. That's not his thing.
Yeah.
He's a manager of people. That's what he's really good at. So I think the people around him, whether it's DeBoer or whether it's anybody, you can say Bruce Cassidy, it doesn't matter. Talk it. Those guys are different than him.
Uh-huh.
They might have different ideas. He's the manager. He has to figure it out.
So you have faith that he can.
Oh yeah,
that pulse
100%. So I've seen him do it.
When he in Tampa.
I saw him do it in 15. They didn't beat that Chicago team, but he did a good job. Saw him do it in 21, and I saw him do it in 22. Or 20 and 21. 20 and 21. He was really good.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you, I was with him. How could you not be? You're in empty buildings, basically doing the games.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There was another part today, and I thought of you. You bring up 2020 there, Pierre, and that was the bubble year, and you were there. You were in it, and they came to you in the conference final, correct? And then the final. And someone was asking Cooper, how do the players build up that hate and sort of that disdain for the opponents when we see them around here and they're chatting with each other and they're kind of all like buddy. And he says, yeah, I know. It's interesting. They put us all in the same hotel. I didn't even realize that. But he says, honestly, I think once they hit the ice and once that crowd gets going, it will generate itself. I'm
surprised they're all in the same hotel.
I thought that was interesting.
I'm not even going to pretend.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure they're not in a bad hotel.
No.
Knowing this city.
I cannot name it, but I do know. I'll tell you after.
I'm sure they're in a very good hotel. But I'm surprised they're all in the same hotel. I am.
Yeah. So what does it take like in a situation like this where you've got some teammates going up against teammates, what does it take to get the blood boiling in a game?
Oh, that's not going to be a problem.
It's not.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Like, you want to win.
Yeah.
The one thing that I think is really important, and Marchand talked about it in your brilliant interview with him. Look at these guys are here. There's certain levels of compete.
Mm-hmm.
They're all very competitive people.
Yeah.
And they don't want to be embarrassed. So you imagine, let's just say for the sake of argument, Canada lost tonight after what happened in the World Junior in Ottawa.
Yeah.
What do you think it's going to be like in Canada tomorrow?
Not good.
So you don't think those guys are going to be able, like they're going to be able to get after it pretty quick?
Yeah.
They don't want that.
I hear you. Well, they're going up against a Sweden team who I'm sure wants to make that happen. When you look at that Sweden team now, at the end of the show yesterday, Pierre, you started to say, I want to think about this team a bit. Like, I'm not so sure I want to write them off right away. And one of the reasons was the blue line. And I thought the same thing, but I got to give Kevin Stevens credit because as early as 3 weeks ago, he was ramping up that blue line saying, Murph, I'm telling you, I think Sweden pulls the upset.
So Jonas Brodin's our seventh defenseman. Think about that for 1 second.
That's amazing. How many NHL teams would give for that?
He's our seventh defenseman. Like Victor Hedman and Rasmus Dahlin are 1-2. Gustav Forsling and Erik Karlsson are 3-4.
Yeah.
Matthias Ekholm and Rasmus Anderson are 5-6.
Yeah.
Come on.
I know.
That's a really good
It's
defense.
huge. It's a big factor. It could play a role today. Listen, I want to remind everybody again, we are here live at McLean's Public House, 1420 Peel Street, downtown Montreal. The place is packed. If you're coming to watch the game, I imagine some of this crowd here will be leaving to go down to the Bell Center. But if you're coming to watch again, get here soon so you can get in line and reserve a seat or call the bar right now if you haven't yet, because it will be wall-to-wall for game time. We also want to thank Jägermeister. Go to their Instagram page right now and the McLean's Public House Instagram page. They are giving away a Canada jersey, Four Nations Face-Off official jersey. Go there right now. I want to thank Stu Ashton as well and this whole staff, as you said, Pierre. The hospitality is amazing.
Unbelievable.
It feels a bit like we're in Ireland.
A little. You know what? There's a lot of similarity with the architecture.
Yeah.
100%. I agree with you.
Yep.
I agree.
So, Pierre, I know it's not tonight, but we'll look ahead to USA-Finland tomorrow. You're looking at those two teams. Give me one strength for USA and one weakness, and one strength for Finland and one weakness.
Strength for USA is definitely firepower. No question about it. Puck moving from the back end to the forwards is going to be good. My concern is offense from the bottom six. So that's for USA.
Okay.
Finland, the biggest concern, no Miro Heiskanen.
Yeah.
Are they going to be good enough on defense? I just breaks my heart.
Yeah.
This kid's so special.
And you imagine that coaching staff, as they were going towards this, had everything centered around him.
I would say.
And then all of a sudden, you got to throw that out the door and start over.
And then are they going to be able to score enough?
Yeah.
Like they're going to have to win. So you lose your best D. UC Saros has not had a great year. I've read, by the way, I mean, no disrespect to the reporters out there writing stuff. Don't tell me UC Saros has had a good year.
No,
okay? I'm reading that stuff. I'm like, please stop.
No.
He is not.
No.
Okay?
One thing I noticed about that, Pierre, with Saros is, and I don't know what they're thinking, but ever since he signed the contract, there's been something off. And I don't know if it's that weighs on him. I'm not trying to get into his head.
No, I get that.
But, I feel bad for the kid because obviously when you sign a contract like that and you're the man, the expectations are high. So I hope he can turn it around there. But you look at that team this year in front of him. It's not all of it. There's been a lot of things going wrong in Nashville.
No, but they needed him to step up.
They needed him to deliver.
He wasn't able to do it.
Kind of like Jeremy Swayman early on for the Bruins.
We talked about the summer when Swayman missed camp. We said, buckle up.
And they're still feeling the effects.
It's not going to be good. It's not going to be good there.
They are.
And look, I think UC Saros is a great kid. I think he's a really good goalie. But he hasn't had a good year.
Yeah.
He has not had a good year. Say whatever you want.
Yeah.
So for the Finns, it's about will they score enough? Not having Heiskanen is a problem. Will they be able to defend enough?
Yeah.
They have to win games 2-1.
You're right.
They will. They'll have to. I mean, that's if they can. Good.
If they can. Yeah.
If not, they're not going to.
Might be tough against some of the
firepower. They're going to finish fourth if they don't.
Yeah. All right, let's tell you about our sponsors right now. TCS Customs and Logistics, who are based right here in Quebec. Unlock the full potential of your shipping operation with TCS Customs and Logistics. From around the corner to around the world, flatbeds to air freight, customs clearance to drawback consulting, TCS is a one-stop shop for all things transport, moving pieces and delivering a peace of mind. For a no-obligation customs or freight quote, contact sickpodcast at shiptcs.com. Again, that is sickpodcast at shiptcs.com. Let's go to our other wonderful sponsor, and that is Betway. We want to tell you right now, go over there, go all the way with Betway. You can still get free money even on your first bet. If you bet up to $200 and your first bet loses, you still get $200 credit. So go to that QR code right in front of you, or go to the details section on the website, sign up for a new membership. Again, the offer is only available to new members, and also it is not available in Ontario. Terms and conditions apply. You must be 18 plus and always bet responsibly. All right, let's go to the sick pick of the night.
It's time for Sick Picks, brought to you by Betway.
All right, Canada are heavy favorites heading into this one, Pierre. It looks like the odds makers think that they could have their way with Sweden. They are minus 180. Not great value there. You can get them on the puck line to win by 2 goals for plus 150. I'm going to go with that puck line right now, giving me Canada minus 1.5, maybe an empty netter at the end. I don't think they're going to blow Sweden out, but I think they pull away at the end. We'll see what happens there. What do we got for comments here, for questions? Marek Easttalk says, hey, guys, greetings to you from Slovakia. I don't know what time it is there. Thanks for listening, Marek. You are great. You are doing really great hockey content. Please continue what you're doing. You have a world reach. That means a lot to hear that.
So all I'm going to say is to Marek, I'm so upset that the Slovaks aren't here. Yeah. I've had so many amazing trips to your country. I'm so grateful to your people, whether it's been to Trenčín, whether it's been to Bratislava, whether it's been to Košice, whether it's been to Prešov. I'm so grateful for every trip I've ever taken to your country. So many good players from there. Thank you for your hospitality, and thank you for watching. Thank you very much.
Let me ask you, Pierre, you're the only, there's a lot of complaints about this tournament, that, and rightfully so, that it's not best on best. But everyone, when they say this, will say because Russia and Czechia are on here. You are the only one I've heard say Slovakia. What makes you include them in that mix?
Zdeno Chara, Ziggy Palffy, the Stasnys. I'll go down the line.
And not that I disagree with you.
I'm glad you're asking me. I'm so proud of you for asking me.
Yeah, for those that don't know.
Breaks my heart. You know, I've been to Košice. I've been to Prešov. I've been to Bratislava. I've been to all these places. I know what Marian Hossa and Zdeno Chara and the late Pavel Dimitra and all these people have done for Slovak hockey.
Uh-huh.
And for them not to be included is heartbreaking to me. It is.
I'm with you.
It's an amazing hockey country.
Yeah.
And I love going there. And I'm so grateful to their people.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this, Pierre, too, as far as Russia and Czechia, I agree with you on that. And the more I've thought about it, the more conversations we have on and off air with the whole Russian thing. And look, again, this is nothing political that I'm saying is. I just think there's a way you can make it happen. And if anything, I look at it, what's one of the greatest things about sports, Pierre, when it comes to the world? And
everybody comes together. 100%,
it unites.
100%.
So why would you not utilize something like this to unite, especially right now when we could use a lot of that in the world? And
I love it.
I just think it was a missed opportunity.
Well said.
Yeah, and heck, I wouldn't mind seeing Alex Ovechkin again in best on best. You think when does he break it, Pierre?
Next year.
You don't think it's this year?
No, I think it's next year.
Oh wow! So it's interesting. I think I don't have the percentage in front of me, but one of my buddies was saying that a lot of his goals lately have been empty netters, and they're doing everything they can to find him because they want him to get this record. I want to ask you, if you're the opponent and you know that, what are you doing? Are you?
I'm trying to win. I got to get the playoffs.
Exactly. I don't care about your history.
The one thing is when a team's going for a lot of empty net goals, it means they have the lead going in the last 2 minutes of a game. So that shows you how well Spencer Carberry and his coaches have prepared their team. Here's the one thing. I'm shocked. I'm absolutely shocked. And I can say this to you because you're a media guy. How come nobody has written that not one player from the Washington Capitals is playing in this event? Not one.
That is amazing.
Shocking.
Yeah.
How about the scouts do a little work?
Yeah. And I think we know who the main guy that should be here. He's between the pipes for the Washington Capitals.
Well, but John Carlson's not here. Yeah. I'll go down the line. I can say Tom Wilson's not here.
Tom Wilson would be great for a tournament like this.
I'll tell you what.
Short. And you have to set the tempo.
Yeah, and you're playing on small ice.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of animosity. You talked about
Yeah,
it
that would
before.
get it going.
Anyways,
that's a missed opportunity.
let's see how it goes. But here's the one. No story about this anywhere. And you know, because I know how much you read. Not one player from the Washington Capitals is in this tournament.
That's amazing to me. Considering they are the second best team in hockey, the best in the East. That's amazing, Pierre.
Because everybody runs with the herd.
Yeah.
Lesson number 1, never run with the herd. Because if you did, you would actually think that Mario Lemieux spent the day in Montreal today, and he didn't.
He didn't. There was a false rumor about that. There were some rumors he was going to be dropping the ceremonial puck. That is not happening, as Pierre.
But he will be in Montreal. He'll be in the building, but he was not in Montreal today.
You know, this thing when you're talking about don't run with the herd, I love that, Pierre. I always love it when you say it. I think it's a great philosophy to have. And I'm surprised that even after all these years, you go back. I mean, we had Mike Eruzione on a couple weeks back in the first Monday in the Beanpot. We were talking about when Herb Brooks put that team together. That was why they succeeded. If I'm correct, right? I mean, it's because
100%.
he was focused on who are the right guys, not the popular guys, not the highest scoring guy, not the most skilled guy. Who are the right guys? Who will fit in perfectly to the puzzle I'm creating or trying to put together here? And that's why they won. And here we are. I mean, like 40-something years later, and some people still can't get that.
I would have Tom Wilson on my team.
I'm with you on that. I would have Logan Thompson there too as well. And don't give me this. Oh well, it was they added guys in. They could have still added him. He's going to win. He could win the Vezina.
We'll see.
I mean, it's a tough competition. Obviously,
Yeah.
Hellebuck's the front runner.
Hellebuck's.
Yeah, but if something were to happen, you never know. You never know. But I mean, he's there. He's in the top 3
I agree.
for sure.
I agree.
For sure. All right. What do we got? One more question here. Let's see what we got. WK. Hey guys, I work up the street from where you are. What is the playoff format of this tournament? WK, it's a round robin, so they'll try to accumulate as many points as they can, and then they'll get to the final in Boston. Much like a European soccer tournament. They get that feel, but it's not like the Olympics, though.
Oh my goodness gracious! Not the
I'm
Olympics.
not trying to be a Sally Downer, but I'll give you that. I mean, I'm happy to be here. I'm excited for these games, but I would much rather an Olympic format.
You know what I'm really happy about? I see Stu, who's been an amazing host, and I see the building and how full it is. I'm happy for him.
It is.
I'm
And we will be here again tomorrow. We hope you can help us fill it 6 to 7 p.m. tomorrow and on game day on Saturday, 6 to 7 p.m. And then we're back down in Boston Monday and Thursday at West End Johnny's.
West End Johnny's, bring it. Monday's going to be
Johnny's
huge.
Been watching our posts on
President's Day, Johnny.
Yep.
President's Day. We're going to bring the.
We're really excited about that. So we hope you can join us there again. We want to thank Stu Ashton, owner of McLean's Public House and McLean's right down the street.
There are no more questions?
That's it. That's all we have. No more questions right now.
Oh, because it's late, maybe.
Yeah. So it's all right. We are having a good time here, and we're excited to meet some of these great patrons here. Here, a lot of people been coming up saying hello to you. We met some people that flew up from Boston earlier. You met some people from Oshawa, was it?
Oshawa.
Yeah. I mean, really cool. So there's people traveling to view this event.
I'm really Pittsburgh. People from
Yep,
Pittsburgh.
we saw our good friend Mr. Steigerwald was
Look at
here.
these people right here.
Yep.
All the Crosby
Good
people.
stuff.
It's pretty
I love
cool.
it. So listen, we'll be back here again, as I said. Hope you can join us. And if you can't, you can always watch us live on YouTube and hear us on the Sick Podcast Network. Thanks to Stu Ashton again, and thanks to Jagermeister. Go to those Instagram pages for your contest there to win a jersey. He's Pierre McGuire. I'm Jimmy Murphy. We will talk to you tomorrow here on the Eye Test on the Sick Podcast Network.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Eye Test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.